friends. Welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will talk about the MiG-35 and answer a frequently asked question whenever this aircraft is mentioned. Does this fighter really exist? Between the 1950s and 1960s, there was an impressive advancement in electronics and jet engines, resulting in the 1970s being a very rich period in terms of the development of new fighters and bombers, with major projects coming from all the leading powers of the time. The highlight, of course, was the United States and the Soviet Union, which were fiercely competing in the technological field, with each bloc trying to achieve leadership. It was within this effort that, in 1970, the F-14 Tomcat flew for the first time. A large and heavy fighter with variable geometry wings, extremely fast, and with an impressive payload capacity. Just 2 years later, in 1972, the F-15 Eagle flew for the first time, with the Pentagon innovating again just 2 years later with the first flight of the F-16 Fighting Falcon. 3 fighters were introduced in just 4 years, all with the same original mission: air superiority. A type of mission that requires fast, highly maneuverable aircraft, and above all, very well armed and equipped with advanced sensors and combat systems. In the face of this genuine flood of new fighters, the Soviets responded with 2 very ambitious projects, one led by Sukhoi, resulting in the Su-27 in 1977, and the other led by Mikoyan, resulting in the MiG-29 in that same year. Originally, both were also designed for the air superiority mission, a direct response to the new fighters introduced by the United States in the early 1970s. The MiG-29 was officially introduced in August 1983, being responsible for short-range air combat missions, while the Su-27, introduced in 1985, being larger and with extended range, was responsible for deep air combat within contested territories. Unlike the Su-27, the MiG-29 did not have a fly-by-wire control system, which resulted in a lower development cost, contributing to a higher production level of the MiG-29 compared to the Su-27. Just to recall, a fly-by-wire control system is one that allows the pilot to transmit command orders through electrical and electronic signals, unlike traditional systems that use tubes, pulleys, and hydraulic pistons to transmit pilot commands. But despite not being fly-by-wire, the MiG-29 was very agile, with an almost instantaneous response and very stable aerodynamics. It was equipped with 2 large climb-off RD-33 engines, which ensured a maximum speed of almost 2,500 kilometers per hour at high altitude. However, its combat mode range was reduced, hardly exceeding 800 kilometers. Despite being a new fighter, its sensors were relatively old, being originally equipped with the same radar as the MiG-23, and it could carry about 4 tons of missiles, rockets, and bombs on 7 hardpoints, 6 under the wings and 1 under the fuselage. Despite its range being considered excessively reduced, the MiG-29 was comparable to fighters like the F-16 in terms of agility, but design and ergonomics issues seriously affected pilots' situational awareness, which, according to specialists of the time, prevented Soviet pilots from extracting all the performance that the MiG-29 offered. The Soviets were well aware of all these serious limitations, which led to the development of more advanced versions, such as the S version, developed from the initial production version, which included, among other improvements, new computers and a more robust and safer hydraulic and mechanical system for flight control. In this version, the Soviets finally replaced the radar, replacing the original MiG-23 radar with the Phasotron 019-M with greater definition and range. From the 29S version, many others were developed, such as the SE for export and the SM, which allowed the operation of laser-guided bombs. Specific versions were also developed for some countries, such as the UPG for the Indian Air Force. However, the true evolution came in 2005 with the appearance of the MiG-29M, converting an originally air superiority fighter into a complete multi-role fighter. In addition to much more modern avionics, the MiG-29M also has a greater range, being able to operate for almost 2,000 kilometers in combat mode and carry a greater payload as well, increasing from 4 tons on 7 hardpoints to 5 tons on 9 hardpoints. It was based on this version that the MiG-29K emerged, the naval version of the fighter, operated by Russia and India on their Kuznetsov-class aircraft carriers. And in January 2017, to the surprise of many, Mikoyan presented a new fighter, the MiG-35, presented as a 4++ generation fighter, with an advanced fly-by-wire system, a cockpit with the latest generation avionics, and integrated systems for precision attacks against ground targets. Initially, some doubts were raised regarding the specific nature of the aircraft, with Mikoyan itself clarifying shortly thereafter that it was actually just an improved version of the MiG-29KR, the naval version of the MiG-29, but equipped exclusively with Russian systems and avionics, without the presence of Ukrainian or Indian systems. In 2019, the first two prototypes were presented, and it became immediately obvious that they were authentic MiG-29 fighters, only with more advanced avionics, computers, and sensors. But if that is the case, why did they receive the MiG-35 designation, implying that it was a completely new fighter? The reason, according to industry experts, is just publicity, with Mikoyan trying to attract foreign buyers by presenting a fighter that, despite having a new name, is actually a slight modernization of the MiG-29. But does this fighter really exist operationally? There is no clear information about this, with some sources stating that at least 2 serial production fighters may have been delivered to the Russian Air Force. But it is not known for sure whether these fighters are internally referred to as MiG-35 or as MiG-29. In terms of export, the MiG-35 is being a failure, with Egypt and India refusing to purchase these aircraft, and the Russians now trying to sell it to countries like Bangladesh and Malaysia, but without good prospects. Therefore, the MiG-35 is essentially a slightly more modern version of the MiG-29K. But in practice, it is just a major marketing maneuver by Mikoyan to try to present a new fighter to potential foreign buyers. Thank you for watching the video until the end. If you liked the content, don't forget to leave a like. This helps the channel grow and reach more people. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike and explain in the comments how we can improve. Also, comment with suggestions for topics we can cover in future videos. Insulting comments or those defending dictatorships or war criminals will be blocked without exception. Thank you for your understanding. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button below and hitting the bell to receive all notifications. Thank you. See you next time.